Hi Michelle, this video is going to give you a little bit of feedback on your technology manuscript as you go about preparing to make some edits to submit for publication. I like the title, although after having read through the piece and now preparing to give you some feedback, I actually think you could get a little bit more specific and talk about how exactly you think a Department of Housing could utilize different features of Google Plus and Google Drive in their work. I think you have a decent sort of background, some good background information that would become part of your introduction. I think what you want to do is set up the fact that you're really presenting almost a case study example to us. So you're giving us you're speaking from your position as someone who works in housing, and you're looking at the ways in which Google Drive and Google Plus could be utilized in your role in housing. I think you want to actually set up that for us. So talk about specifically what your role is in housing and how you see Google Plus and Google Drive being beneficial in that role. So I'd start off with an introduction that you might need to expand a bit from just this one paragraph. Then give us a little bit of background in terms of who you are and what you do on campus. And I would actually have a sort of heading or subheading here that talked about a current ARC in housing, what sorts of things you do and what you're responsible for. Then I might have a second subheading that talked about, using Google Drive to assist with rotating schedules and documenting things. Then you might have another subheading that talks about using Google Plus and how circles can be beneficial in the ways in which you can do that. And then I would go into some sort of implications or application outside of housing, but how this could extend to other offices and other areas in higher education before giving us a conclusion. And in this conclusion, I'd go a little bit more into some of the benefits and drawbacks of using it. So, we do have some issue around publicly accessible information, and how are you going to guarantee privacy when using Google Plus and Google Drive. I also think you could link to some different resources. Provide a link directly to our circle in Google Plus for our course. You might show one way in which you've been using it now and how you've been learning about it and how you've been sharing documents within our course as an example of something you want to share. You could also link directly to some videos on using Google Plus, Google Drive, and give us some links directly to Google itself and some information. Google, I believe, has a YouTube channel, so you might link to some videos that contain tutorials and provide us with all that information. This is going to be an article, if it's accepted for publication, that will be published online and will be hyperlinked right from your paper. So someone could have, click on the article, have it open, and click on, a hyperlink that you have inserted right here where you're talking about Google Drive and giving an example of it and taking us and directing us to their video. So as you're looking to make revisions, get more specific. Set up the case for us and give us your background and your experience and why you're talking specifically about housing and residence life. And then organize your papers so that you have one example of perhaps Google Drive, and I'd use a subheading that says Google Drive, using Google Drive, and then a second subheading, an example that gives us for using Google Plus. So we have two sort of solid examples that you give, and then go into your implications and talk about your sort of benefits and drawbacks to using it when you get into the conclusion. But a good solid start here. I think you just need to go back and refine it, enhance it a bit, and you should be in good shape. Thanks.